Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again for another edition of Targeted. My name is Kristen Manners. I'm joined by my co-host V, and I want to thank my guest today. Her name is Amy Holem. She is a targeted individual, and thank you, Amy, very much for joining us today. I thank you very much, Jay, for your patience. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I read some of your information. It says that you've been a targeted individual for 2 years. Can you let us know about yourself and some of the things that you have experienced as a targeted individual?
Well, like I said, when I was first started, I became a target back in 2016. I was working the Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton campaign. Well, I was working through it just through my hometown, and I was more for Bernie Sanders, trying to get signatures and doing phone baking and stuff like that. It was really weird when my targeting started, or the B2K at least. I remember, like, they didn't even announce themselves, but they were, how do I say it? Like, I would always think I would hear people talking about me. If I go into the bathroom, I could hear my friends saying bad things about me, talking negative about me, and then I'd come out and be like, why are you guys saying all of this? You know, I could hear you in the bathroom. And they're like, we didn't say any of that, Amy. And so it seemed like I was going crazy, or I couldn't understand it. Whenever I was in the kitchen, I noticed that they were commenting on my cooking. Oh shoot, we don't like pork. Why are you cooking pork? They were saying that they were Muslim and that they didn't like pork at all, and that I shouldn't eat it and stuff like that. When the gang stalking started at nighttime, they started tapping on my windows so I would stay awake and get sleep deprived. I was so sleep deprived one day that I ended up just like walking and just following them, and like they were like, step into traffic, that way you get hit by a car. And I was just so sleep deprived that they were trying to control me in every single aspect. And they wanted my dog dead because I had.
It's a very common situation.
Yes.
I can tell you that when I was first targeted, I would have arguments with my significant other. You know, I would, you know, walk away from the argument, and I would hear, you know, da 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 da, and I walk back. It's like, really, you want to continue this? Like, no, you're the one continuing it. I didn't say this and that. You know, I got through the process, you know, 3 or 4 times. What? How come every time I walk away, you got something more to say? I'm not saying anything. What's wrong with you? And that's when I realized, even though I had already figured out I was going to the B2K, I had realized they would just impersonate someone that's in your immediate vicinity to cause problems, cause conflict. So yes, that's very common.
And another really common thing, Amy, is I had a Pomeranian. She was like all I had left in the world, and they poisoned her. They sprayed roach killer in her face, and I tried to retrieve her from an animal shelter, and they actually sent me up. They got me there, and they let me see my dog. And then an Aurora police officer ended up showing up there. They set me up, and he cornered me in a room and basically started sending me through a wild goose chase, ended up escorting me out of the animal shelter like I had done something wrong. They didn't give me my dog back. I hadn't done anything wrong. It was the most bizarre situation that I'd ever seen in my life. I ended up having to walk down the street. I ended up at a truck stop overnight. I couldn't get back to my house. So yeah, these people, they will do anything. They absolutely will do anything. So I most certainly do understand that for sure.
Yeah, I was asking, you said Aurora, does that mean you're from Illinois? Because I'm originally born and raised in Illinois.
No, my initial situation started in Aurora, Colorado with a police misconduct issue. So yeah, it was a nightmare there. That's what started the whole thing. But I know now, that was in 2015, but I know now that I was a target way before that initial situation. That was just their opportunity to pounce on me, pretty much.
Right.
Now,
Right.
you had spoken to me off camera, and you state that a lot of TIs were coming to you with the information of their audio, their whatever they have to say being disrupted, and I want you to get into that. What were you explaining to me?
Well, what am I doing is I'm actually stripping their audio, their phone conversations, videos, and I could actually hear the perpetrators and the communications between the perpetrators and the criminals in the background of these audios. So I pretty much, all it is, it's very, very easy to do. It's not that hard whatsoever. I even say a monkey could do it. But every time I try to get this word out, something bad happens with the audio or something bad happens with the video, or they just won't allow me to communicate with any of the TIs. So I've been mainly doing it through email, and I'm using these videos and these testimonies for a petition that I wrote on organized torture. And I hope to submit it to Congress and show the electronic harassment that is going on within the TIs and stripping down these communications too. So
Are TIs just submitting these to you randomly because they're hearing about you? Is that how that's working?
that is, I made a little poster and a little meme on Facebook, and then I've been posting it on Facebook, and then people just reach out to me through my email address, or they contact me through Messenger. I'll download their videos and everything through Messenger, then put it through my program, then send whatever information that I get out of that audio back to them. That way it stays private between the TIs and just myself. Because some of it is private information. Some of it, like, you don't want to hear. You could hear anything from child abuse to molestation to squad numbers to vehicle numbers, agent numbers to agencies. I've caught things from the EPA. I've caught things from the DOD, the FBI. I've caught things from squad numbers, Orange County Sheriff's Department here where I live down in Florida. I've caught things from animal abuse, saying them for with hate crimes. A lady sent me a video of her chair, and it was only like a 3-second video, but in that video you hear, "This is America, get out of America." And she's Muslim. And she's a Christian, and she denounced her faith, and she's a U.S. citizen, but they're still attacking her to get out of America, which is considered a hate crime. So you do find a lot of interesting things on these audios that pertain to certain things. I've caught things like Harry and Diamond, or Harry and Diamond, which is a diamond corporation. Yeah. I've caught things from the DOG, which is the Department of Geography, and they are currently doing research on population control right now. So some of these audios, you could catch which companies are actually attacking these targeted individuals like you and I and other people as well. So
now
it's
this
kind of
very interesting. And
yeah.
I hope to get with you and see if you'll work with me on my particular case. When I was getting the V2K really bad, something I like to do was listen to music. You know, have my MP3 player on, headbuds, earbuds, and just blast music as loud as I could. And I, besides V2K trying to get in between each beat or each word with something profane.
Yes.
Besides that, they would actually hard code different messages into the music. I know when I started my radio show, I had certain music that I wanted cut and made as samples, going to break, going back to break, whatever. And this recording would get sabotaged with profanity thrown into it, so I couldn't use it at the radio station. And I had a tech guy. I gave him the IO clip. I asked him, "What is this? What the hell is this? Can you fix this?" He ended up just giving me, or asking me who the band was and cutting his own clip and sending it to me.
Okay.
Because he couldn't do anything with what I gave him.
That's weird. That's really weird.
Yeah.
Well, and like V, I'm also an avid music fan. I listen, and what'll happen is, because I'm deaf in one ear, every now and again I'll start to feel some strange vibrations on one side, and then on the other side, every now and again I'll get an interruption in what's going on the right side, and you can just vaguely hear, because my hearing is so acute, you can just vaguely hear something else coming through on my good side. And I know that on countless numbers of occasions they have interrupted my music coming in, and I don't pay it no never mind, because I refuse to have that sort of interruption coming through my head and interrupting any part of my being. I just absolutely refuse. But they do it. They absolutely do it. But just like V, I would be very highly curious to get some recordings of all of my music and see if you'd be able to hear anything through my music. I also would be highly fascinated with that.
Well,
sure.
That's the great thing, because you could actually hear the electronic communications coming out in certain material. Like when you have your TV on and you're watching TV and you hear the voices, they are hidden within the TV and the people speaking too. So you just draw those out and over so you could actually hear them in link or in step with them. That could prove electronic harassment. Same thing with the radio waves. When I was at the doctor's office, I make sure I record everything I do, especially at the doctor's office, because I deal with the VA. I am a U.S. veteran.
Thank you for your service.
The VA stands for Veterans Affairs, but they are lying about the communications. I played my recordings for my doctor, and she gave me a false diagnosis. And on that recording, she stated that she could hear the audios. So if she's going to diagnose me as a schizophrenic, how can she hear the audio? How can, how can she, so I'm trying to appeal that process right now when it's stated on the audio that she said she could hear it. It's schizophrenia, you can't hear, but V2K you can't, which is, and then when she's typing on the computer, you could hear them speaking through the keyboard and her typing. So they were using the computer frequencies to get to me. So you could prove the electronic portion on that because you could hear her typing and the words are in conjunction of her typing. So it's very, actually, there's more to analyzing this audio than other things. I've also found out that analyzing a lot of T.I.s, they're the same voices. They're the same, unless you dig deep down, which sometimes it could take me hours to do. You could hear the real people's voices, but other times it's like the V2K, the female voices and the male voices, they are all the same. There's no difference to them whatsoever, which is actually very, very intriguing to me because that means we could prove it's a government program.
So you're saying that the voices are more a unisex tone?
Yeah. Like you have your female and then you have your male voices, but only on certain aspects can you actually hear the real voices. Like when you're out walking around, or if you're driving in your car, or if you're at work, do they differentiate? But the V2K still stays the same with the female and the male voices.
Now I've actually talked to some homeless people. But these people, that's the goal, really. They hit you with the voices. You know, you talk to your family, you talk to your coworkers, you end up losing your job, your house. You end up on the streets and eventually dead. It's the point of the program. But I've talked to some homeless people who all heard voices in some form or another. And one person told me that they would hear radio stations come in and out of their heads. The other one that really stuck out to me said that he heard his family being murdered over and over and over and over and over in his head. Now, I'm going to put a link into the show. This link is a rare interview from now deceased Dr. Eldon Bird, who worked with Navy intelligence scientist who worked on these sound frequency technologies. In his interview, he puts I think a Bluebird or I don't know. This is at the time was the world's most sensitive microphone, and he put this microphone to this guy's head, to his literal, to his head, to his scalp, and the sound frequencies that were being pumped into this guy's head was picked up by the mic. Now, you heard unending death threats and the sound of a child being molested. This man,
oh my gosh, crazy, terrible.
Yes. So the stuff exists. It's going on, and sorry to say that this is old technology. It's gone from sound waves, sound frequencies, to scalar, which are extremely hard to detect. So, yes.
That is awful.
Oh yeah. I'll put the link in the show so people can listen to it. It's a must listen to. This is one of the guys who did the initial research with the telepathy with dolphins. If that means to you guys.
That is highly disturbing. I mean, yeah, I mean, just when you think that you can't be any more disturbed or by the already existing things that you already know and that have happened to you, you hear something else and you're just appalled all over again. I mean, whole thing that happens to T.I.s, that has happened to me, that I continually hear and read about all the time, and then something else comes up, and you just get even more disgusted at the whole thing in general. It's so appalling to me that we actually have human beings on this planet that are capable of this garbage. It really is.
Well, I don't consider them human beings, but Amy, I have another question really quick. Yeah. These people that are giving you this audio, are they giving this audio because they think something's wrong with the audio, the communications are being interrupted, or do they actually hear it? Is it subliminal and they think something's wrong with the audio, or is it overt and they're just showing it to you? Are you enhancing the subliminals and whatnot? I mean, how does this work?
Let me get this straight. That why people are contacting me?
No, how are you hearing these? Are they hearing the subliminal messages he's asking, or
basically is it subliminal or is it overt?
Yeah, I would have to say this is overt. This is something that you could catch on anything. I catch them by a little video recorder. You could catch them by recording your phone conversations. You could catch them by a handheld recorder, an audio system. I'd use that when I'm sleeping because the battery lasts a lot longer. You could use it by just the way that I've been doing it to show people is I actually downloaded a WavePad Master, which is a software program. And then what you do is you just, like, let's say, record for 10 seconds. Then right now, all I'm going to do is listen to it, see if I could hear something. And then what I do is I just grab a noise sample. I clean up the whole thing and do a spectrum analyzer to it. And you notice how there's no more bars on here, right?
Yeah.
Well, then what we are is we're just going to amplify. And you're going to watch the noise frequencies change. Like, let's say. And then you could, it's kind of hard because I don't have speakers. Like, let's say, but that's me. But you could start hearing the communications on there. Like, let's say, and then you kind of listen for like the major voices. And then I just equalize it out. And right there, they're saying she is a T.I. Usually, if I use headphones, it's because I don't have speaker phones to play that for you. But
Wow.
I don't know if that or not. I don't know if you heard that or not.
What did it say?
And you know, this is sort of like playing a Beatles records backwards. You know, they always
Exactly.
something
That's what I was just thinking about.
But these are some other ones that I've caught. Like, that one says DOD ordering it, which means that was in the middle of a phone conversation that I was with a lawyer they were, the whole entire point of their conversation was they did not have a warrant for them to be tapping my phone. So they are calling the DOD to order the warrant.
So like, could you record me right now and see what would play back?
I could, but chances are, since I don't have settings on how to do this, I wouldn't know how to analyze it, because I would be catching either just my V2K or your V2K, his V2K, all three of our V2Ks.
I would just be curious. I would just really be curious. I would just be curious. Curiosity.
You have to calibrate it for you specifically in your surroundings. Yes.
For an individual person, you would need just you and your video alone to get your specifics, because if, like, let's say we're all in a room together and we're recording it, you're going to get mine, his, and yours, Kristen, all at the same time.
Okay, let's
so it's going to be hard.
Like, I made a video on YouTube recently, not on YouTube, but on my Facebook page about my court documents. Would you be able to pick up anything off of that?
I could do anything off of Facebook Messenger that I've tried. I've tried with YouTube before, taking the videos off of YouTube, but the problem is that they're encrypted. So I would need the original file from the YouTube video to analyze.
No, this video I made, I just posted recently on Facebook. It's about my court case. And it's posted on Facebook. I would just be highly curious. I mean, this is just fascinating to me. It just really is.
And I think every TI should know about this. I think every TI should be doing this, because think about it. If that TI gets it to the right person, we could gain media attention. We could show proof to Congress. We could step in a mayor's office. We could step in the police department while they're trying to Baker Act us and say, you know, or pardon my language, sorry.
I mean, hey,
that's how I feel sometimes.
You say whatever you want to say. I don't have a problem with that. No, I would be curious, Amy. I really would. My video is up on Facebook, so feel free, really.
Okay.
I mean, feel free.
When I'm done, I'll go ahead and do that. I have 2 others that I got to do first, but I could do yours right afterward. They don't take long. I only usually do about a minute of them. Some people send me an hour and a half worth. It's so long to do, and well, it's not long to do. It's just very, very time consuming. So I only do like a minute or 2 of the whole entire video to show proof to them that it is there, and that I could teach you how to do this for free. You know, I'm not charging anybody.
Yeah, I would just be a little bit curious, you know, given what you just said. It's just fascinating to me. Have you ever heard of any of this?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Have you ever heard of any of this? I mean, this is new to me. Actually,
I have used Audacity. I used it when I was getting the V2K. I used it to scrub out certain parts where I know the song was altered. Like again, I listen to music a lot, and you know, they'll add in a F you or a go to hell, or you know, someplace, and it's on every single certain beat of whatever, a certain part of a song. And I would use Audacity, and I would lower the volume or mute certain parts of the song. I end up remixing a lot of my music just to cut out their audio harassment.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I do know about this to some extent, but going down into that static noise, I've never gone that deep into.
Oh, really? You should really try it. It's very intriguing what you find.
No, I'm finding this highly fascinating myself. So along with everything else that you have to go through, I think this is highly fascinating. I'm very glad you came on today, Amy. This is very enlightening. So thank you, indeed.
I'm so glad this is working out. This is the first time I've been trying to get on 4 other people's shows and do like a Facebook Live, and every single time we had audio issues too, kind of like what we had problems with now. But we tried it like several times with them and just failed, so I kind of gave up on it. So I was kind of glad that I actually got out and get to speak the word now.
Well, I encourage you to let other, we can only do so much. I encourage you to, pass the word on that we're taking interviews, we're taking guests. So if you know of other people that, have a story to tell, pass them on and let them know to send me a message in my message box, because, V and I are more than willing to interview them just like we are you. So give them my name and let them know to send me a message for sure.
Okay,
also,
definitely.
If you want to get a hold of Anthony Thomas, our producer, we'll work with you on making a instructional sort of documentary. If you want to put together a long video, I'll make it a special on my TV show, The Red Pill Hardcore. I'll make it a Sunday with the TV.
Yes.
That would be awesome. I would love that. Thank you so much. I would appreciate that. That would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I watched The Red Pill.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Good. Yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on today, Amy. I know that we had some technical difficulties, but thank you for bearing with us and having the patience that you did. And I hope at some point in time you can come back on and give us an update. But thank you for your time today very much. It's really been amazing having you on. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Please join us again for another episode of Targeted. Join V and I again, and thank you for joining us. And this has been another edition of Targeted. Thank you.